Hello. Yes. Finally we're going to see if this thing flies. I mean, of course it's going to fly, but we're going to see how well it flies. So this patch of concrete up here is pretty much nice and flat, which is great, because I'm going to need a little bit of flat, because when we get to here you've got quite a steep drop off down there. So one way or another, by the time the plane gets to here, it's going to be flying. Question is it going to be flying to there or is it going to be flying over yonder? And today it's quite windy, unfortunately, but it's one of those rare occasions when the wind is coming this way. It doesn't happen very often, but it's perfect for what I need right now. Alright, here goes. Look at that. Look at that. This is manual mode, not flyby A. Okay, we'll have to turn it around now though. Oh, it's quite touchy on ailerons. I didn't think it would be. Oh, it's quiet too. A little bit slow there, I think. Actually, it's not that quiet. Look at that. Look at this. Okay, so it wants to nose down a bit there. Oh, okay, there we go. Wow, I can just fly it hands off straight away. That is so good. Amazing, so amazing. Actually a little bit far away there. This is just all manual mode. Man, I couldn't fly the, you remember the Big Red? I was too scared to fly that in a manual mode, but this is easy. Sounds a little bit vibraty. I think maybe those motor mounts are a little bit far forward. Maybe. So this is fly-by-wire A now. Throttle is at bang on 50%. Yeah. Rather a little bit anticlimactic actually, but that's what you want, right? No dramas, you just want it to work. Alright, so it looks like we're about 15.5 volts. I don't know if I can really do an auto tune with the battery that I have remaining. Might be a bit tight, but I'll just give it a try and see what happens. So, auto tune. And I'll just keep an eye on my altitude. We're starting at 110 meters or so. I guess next thing to try is what sort of a current does it need to maintain altitude? I guess 16, 17 amps and 15 volts. And the altitude's going up a tiny little bit at the moment, so maybe I could bump it down. It's 13 amps. I think this is probably some thermal activity there. I can't imagine that 13 amps would be enough to climb. But I'll have to try it on a morning where the air is perfectly calm and still kind of cold before I'll be able to figure that out. Okay, so we're sitting at 99 meters for a while now at 40% throttle, or 15 volts and then 13 amps, whatever current, whatever wattage that is. It's not much actually, is it? So I'll see if I can climb to 120 and then I'll I'll turn my radio off completely to that's the only way I can do a return to launch check at the moment, because I only have 3 modes on this radio. So alright, and then let's face home here, the top of the airstrip. Alright, and then I'll just look at this line of sight in case something goes wrong. But we want to turn the radio off. What's it doing? Stopped auto tune. RTL, okay, that's good. So, oh, it's not keeping the altitude very well there, is it? Oh, now it is. So the target is 120 meters. Seems to have settled out there. Okay, so the plan is to land, no, not in the puddle. The plan is to just come over that fence there, or just come over this rather, and land on this nice flat bit there. Nice and gentle. And I should have time for 2 or 3 attempts if I need them. I just realized I didn't take off with the flaps on at all. I was planning to, of course, but there was a decent breeze, so I guess it was perfectly fine. Okay, so this is no throttle, full flaps. What if I try and I'm gradually increasing the pitch, pulling back on the pitch almost about 2/3 the way down. Okay, this is alright, this is full back on the pitch stick, all the way back. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to nose it down a bit there so it can. I'm going to turn the flaps off as well. Okay, that's enough of that. We'll come back and we'll do some more of that another day. Alright, let's see what kind of approach we can get with this here. Kind of fast. Focus, focus. Ah. I think everything's in one piece. It's a little bit more sort of sideways skiddy than I was thinking it might be. My big concern with landing was that this join might be a bit weak, but looks like at least with that level of landing it's okay, and it's still a fairly light loading. So the all up weight's probably about 6.9 kilos. It was 6.8 last time I weighed it, but that was before I put the camera and FPV gear on there and some other little bits of wiring, like the wire from the camera to the middle. So I'd say it's probably about 6.9 kilos there, and that's as light as it's ever going to get. So what was that, like almost 20 minutes maybe with that battery? That's a little bit better than Big Red, which was basically Big Red with that same battery I could only get 15 minutes out of. And it's way easier to fly in manual mode than Big Red was. I think overall just a much better designed plane. Yeah, all in one piece. A good first flight. Okay, flight 2. That last flight wasn't very good because right as I took off, or right before I took off, there was a huge wall of clouds that came up in front of the sun over there. And everything was all kind of grey and gloomy. I didn't really like that video very much, but this time we've got some sun again, and I'm going to take off with flaps this time because I forgot to do that last time. So that's just a half flaps. Hopefully we can arm here, can we? Okay, we should be good to go. I'm not going to take off in fly-by-wire A yet, we're just going to do manual mode. That's better. Okay, you see it took off a lot earlier, which is what I was hoping for. There's not much wind at the moment. There was just a little bit of wind from behind me actually, so the wrong direction, but there wasn't much of it. Yeah, so in the last video we didn't get many cool flyby shots of the plane, and since I don't have much time right now, I've got to go and do a work meeting right after this actually, so I think what I'll do for this video is we'll just do a bunch of flybys. Whoops, whoa, okay. So I just turned the flaps off there and it knows way down, gotta keep that in mind. Let's do a flyby from over here. Sort of making that buzzy noise again. It's a very low power flyby here. Can you hear that buzzing? I wonder. There's definitely something not quite right. Hopefully it's just the one motor on one side maybe that's doing something. One of those motors has slightly looser bearings than the other. So with a bit of luck that's all it is. Although if that's what it is, it means I can't really do anything about it, short of changing the bearings, which I'm not going to be doing. Alright, so I'm flying in manual mode there. Let's pop it into fly-by-wire A, see what we get. I think the pitch trim for fly-by-wire A is not quite right. I'll have to set that later on, just by changing the, I think it's AHRS Y trim or something. Man, we get quite far away, don't we, quickly? I'm trying to just fly around in circles here so I can do flybys, but I don't feel like I should be turning it too tightly. It's a bit wobbly there. I think maybe the tail doesn't have quite enough vertical surface or something. Let's turn the motor off here and see what happens. Okay, motor off. Nope, motor on. I don't quite feel comfortable with that there. I was going to try and glide it a bit, but it didn't really seem like it wanted to. Let's go up a little bit and I'll try that glide again. Props are spinning, which is not helping, I guess, but okay, we're just gliding. All hands off. Oh, it's coming down quickly. It's not. Yeah, it's losing quite a bit of height there. Quite quickly, I mean. I thought it would probably glide a bit better than that. Okay, motor off again here. Rudder, lots of rudder. Okay, actually that's not too bad. I'm pulling back on the pitch stick here, so I think maybe what I should be doing, it's just motor on again there. Maybe I should be doing those glide tests in manual mode, because like I was just saying, my pitch trim for fly-by-wire A mode is not quite right. It wants to nose it down a little bit. So maybe that's all that's happening. Let me just switch back to manual mode here. Okay, motor off. Straighten up a bit, pitch, level it out a bit. Okay, no, it doesn't sustain that altitude very much at all. It just wants to. That's motor off all the way. Okay. Not a great glider, eh? Maybe I'll have to set those motors to brake and see how much of a difference that makes. Okay, I'll motor off again here. Mind you, it wasn't supposed to be a glider, this plane. It was supposed to be like a cargo plane sort of thing, so. Okay, this is gliding. That's not too bad. Nose down a bit, starting to get a bit slow. Right, now let's try maybe a full flaps flyby, and let's see how this goes. Wasn't planning to be doing this kind of testing this flight, was I? I was planning to just do some flybys for the viewers, but can't help it. Alright, so this is full flaps. Just a little dribble of throttle. It's getting too slow, I think, but it is nice and slow at least. That's good. Okay, so this is full flaps still. Yeah. Let's do another flyby here. This is flaps down still. Oops, whoa. It bounces around a little bit more than I would have thought for a 7 kilo plane. Alright, flaps off. And we'll do a little bit faster flyby maybe. Okay, flyby A. And let's do a nice casual low speed but with no flaps, so it's not going to be that low speed. Alright, so I'm a bit too lazy to walk down there this time, so I think I'm just going to try landing it here. The wind is going that way, which is kind of convenient for this little bit actually. Only thing is it's not flat, so it's going to be coming uphill a bit, but see what we got. Okay, it's gliding in flyby A. Switch in manual mode. There's a fly on my nose. He's not helping. Alright, here we go. This looks good. Not sure why it bounces up so much there. The CG should be pretty good. Whoops. Land this way, please. Oh. I'm having to power. Yeah. Okay, well that turned out alright, but whoops. Land this way, please. Oh. I'm having to power. Yeah. Okay, well that turned out alright, but oh sorry, did you see that? Oh, I had my camera angled down. Plus the sun was in the... You'll just have to trust me, it was a good landing. It felt very, very floaty just then. More floaty than the other day when I landed it, but I think it's because, like I say, the wind was going perfectly against me there. Okay, I think that'll do it for this video. I will of course be flying this plane a whole lot more and doing a whole bunch of nerdy testing stuff. So I'll show you some of that, and not least of which will be trying to figure out how much we can carry with this, because the original 5 kilo payload goal is still my goal. I'd like to try that at some point. I didn't say much about this dolly here, but there's not really much to say. It's just some wood screwed together and a little bit of XPS on the sides with some of the other sort of packing foam there, and pull noodles up there. Fortunately the motors are way out here, so if the front of the wing is there, the motors clear that pull noodle quite well, so everything works out and it wasn't too hard to make. And we used some pieces of Big Red. There we go, Big Red flies again, albeit just off the edge of the concrete. Yes, I think the trick with this is you just got to make sure that this back edge is also, I think, key, because you don't want that to be too far away from the CG, because the plane that's the front of the plane, the tail of the plane has to be able to go down a bit in order for air to get under the wings. Although not so much if you have the flaps on, as we found out today. Anyway, I'm just sitting here with a beer and finishing up the year. Oh, and writing some poetry. It's a beautiful summer now. We've gotten over all that horrible rain and things are very nice. And since this is probably going to be the last video of mine for the year, I will wish you all a Happy New Year and all the best for 2023. See ya.